But now I would like to welcome and introduce our next speaker, who is Jibo. Jibo is the Chief Representative of CKGSB, which is the Chung Kong Graduate School of Business in China. The school is a very successful business school, and it aims to develop leaders that have a global vision, a humanitarian spirit, and an innovative mindset. It has 45 full-time professors, and I understand that more than half of the 10,000 alumni are at CEO or chairman level, and collectively make up, I think, a fifth of China's most valuable brands. Jibo himself has a strong background in global business and in executive education, and he's had 15 years in top management positions in the Fortune 500 companies, and he also teaches executive MBA programs. So, if I may, I would like to invite Jibo to the stand to give his perspective on opportunities and strategy post-Brexit. Welcome.
Good morning. So are you excited about Brexit? Yes. Anyone is excited? I see a few hands. Now, this is a time of change, and change means opportunity. So I skip on my introduction. My first slide to tell you that Brexit is no longer a debate, it's a reality. So if it's a reality, let's forget about whether we should exit or we should not exit. Let's move on. And let's face this reality. Let's face the challenge and also the opportunity ahead of us. Now, people doesn't like to have change. We can see very clearly, last June 23rd, this Brexit also impacted us because we tried to put together a program called China Start to bring the entrepreneurs from Europe and from UK to go to China to learn how to expand their business to this lucrative market in China. And because of Brexit, many people canceled. And we tell them that this is a great opportunity, but nobody listened to us. And the market also reacted very badly against that. And whoever reacted towards it actually win. Because when the British pound was depreciating at 10%, and when the stock are devaluated overnight with such a devastating way, you could be a new Warren Buffett by investing in those companies. But yet everybody is just fearful. It's very normal. I don't blame you. I'm one of you. Because we don't like to have change. But yet today I'm here to tell you that uncertainty and change often means opportunity. So people don't like to have change when they get married. Because you don't know whether the person sleep next to you will snore or not. Whether they're going to close the toothpaste cup. And then people got nervous when they got divorced. So it's a part of our life that every day we deal with a change, and change is not something that we're used to it. Now yesterday, the Prime Minister has made it clear that we're going to exit, and she has brought 12 points in terms of her plan. Now we just heard from the very experienced Ambassador, Peter, telling us that the plan is not entirely clear. Now, of course, nothing can be clear with just 12 points. But we can see clearly the determination from Theresa May's address that the UK is going to exit, and the UK is not going to be halfway in and halfway out. So this is a clear determination. I think that will serve very well in terms of the nation to have this unified determination of exit from the Europe. Now, I'm not here to challenge whether it's a right or wrong decision. As an academic, I have all the freedom to say whatever I wanted to say. But I wanted to tell you that let's move on for that. Now let's look from some statistics. Now, right after Brexit, the UK-China investment actually didn't change too much. And if we look at the time scale here, June 23rd is the time the Brexit was voted. On June 29th, a Chinese company actually bought Regland for 92 million British pound. And then on July 12th, we see a very large transaction of close to 1 billion British pound. So what we see here is seems that the Chinese firms did not feel it's a big trouble for them to invest in UK. As a matter of fact, many Chinese had such a long tradition of being trained by Confucianism, Taoism, and strategism. And they take this as a great opportunity to buy discounted asset from UK. So the Chinese is very clever. And in China, there's a famous saying that when the two fish are fighting with each other, the fishermen gain. Because they sit there watching the UK and EU to have this conflict and Brexit issues. So who is the biggest winner? It might be China, maybe other countries. So let's see some of the leading business executives, their quote. So the chairman of the Chinese automaker, BYD, and they produce fantastic vehicles in China, very influential globally. He says that our government has said that the bilateral relationship with Britain will not change after Brexit. And the same can be said for BYD. Brexit might throw up considerable obstacles for some, but BYD intended to increase investment in the UK. So here is a large company chairman, and he firmly believed the Chinese government's stance on this. And he thinks that their company should behave the same way as the Chinese government said. And they not just say that, but they also did it. They have entered a joint venture to produce electric buses with Scottish manufacturer Alexander Dennis. Now let's see a different view here. If you know the Wanda Group, Wang Jianling, and he's a very influential businessman. He's one of the multi-billionaires in China, and he used to be the richest man in China. By the way, in China, the richest men keep changing every day because our stock price is very volatile. So one day you are the richest for a few hours, and then the next few hours you're not. So he said that Brexit would not be a smart choice for the UK. It would create more obstacles and challenges for the investors. And a visa problem for tourists. Many Chinese companies would consider moving their European headquarters to other countries. Now, yet he said that. But then he's a founder of Real Estate Entertainment Group, and he's also owner of British luxurious yacht company and a 5-star hotel in London, and he invests 114 million mansion for himself in England. So I think he's a little bit contradictory to what he said. But nevertheless, people have different view. I think he's being very truthful. I think indeed maybe some multinational company or some Chinese company may move their headquarters away from UK. But there may be more Chinese company move their headquarters to UK as well. So we yet need to see the result. Here is the influential chairman from the China Construction Bank. He said whether the UK will stay in the EU or not will not do any harm to trade and economic ties or financial relationship between the UK and China. So he's in the banking sector. And you know, London is a financial center. And yet he's saying that. So this is not what I say. Now I want to underline some of the general principles and general reasons why some of the top-ranking Chinese businessmen are saying that. Now let's look at China since 1978. Now China in 1978, Deng Xiaoping decided to open up China because we're fed up with economic slow growth. The China was growing at about a 1 to 2% growth rate. And if your economy growing at this level, like what we see right now in Europe, you feel depressed, right? Every year you don't have a salary increase. If you lose a job, you can't find a job. So that was the situation in China. That's the situation in Europe right now. So what did China do? China said that we're going to open our door. We can't just do it ourselves. We're behind. We need technology. We need to do the trade. So that's what China did. They opened up the country because China had been closing up for many, many years. Because since Tang Dynasty, China was so big. We're the leading power in the world. We have all the technology in the world. And every other country copied from China. They are copycats of China. But now China is copycat to them. So we're all fair. And then in 1992, Deng Xiaoping went to Shenzhen to have a tour of the Shenzhen New Economic Development Zone. Now, I happened to went before Deng Xiaoping 1 year before him. So I'm always very proud of that. Deng Xiaoping followed me to Shenzhen. So when he went there, he started to tell the Communist Party, you guys got to change. So from there, you can see the economy started to develop. And by December 2001, China economy is growing at 4.12% thanks to Deng Xiaoping. But it's still not very big. Now guess what happened after that? The China joined World Trade Organization. That's when China really took off. So you can see by 2009, China are growing at 8.6% in terms of GDP, year after year growth. And then in year 2010, it's 9.35, 2013, 12.34, and then 2014, 13.3, and you keep going. And many countries think that China is making up numbers. They don't believe it. But if you understand a country has been closed door, lack of the trade for so many years, and this number is actually very reasonable. So now China economy, we try to slow down a little bit because when you grow too fast, they also comes with a problem. And sometimes most Chinese don't understand English. They don't speak English. Don't look at me, okay? Many Chinese doesn't speak English. But every Chinese can spell the word of GDP because the GDP is the one single thing the government are looking for in the past 15 years. So what I'm showing this to tell you that the whole Chinese economic growth and the rapid growth is because of the trade. That China opened the door to the rest part of the world. So that's why in the Brexit scenario, the trade between China and the UK is going to be crucial. Chinese are not going to slow down of the trade between China and the UK. And also, if I may show you a very exciting news here. If you look at the world economic growth in the past 10 years, China has contributed by now more than 50% of the world economic growth. What this means is that if you want to grow your business, if you want to grow your country, you work with China because they contribute 50% of the growth. So if you don't work with China, then there's a problem here. So that's the confidence I have to stand here to tell you that at Brexit, the best shot for the UK company is to work with China because Chinese want to continue to grow its GDP and its economy at about 6.5 to 7% a year. Now, if you look at the size of the economy, the 6.5%, even 5% is substantial. It's close to 1 trillion a year. So you figure out. Now, China will be a significant growth market for UK, so that's very clear. And the remarkable growth and the potential benefit from trading with China are currently underestimated. If your Prime Minister asked me to advise her, this is the first thing I would tell her. Increase the trade with China. And how? Which we're going to address a little bit later. China is said to be a significant growth market for UK. Relatively speaking, UK is a small market. But China has a huge market here. And as a matter of fact, we see the trade between China and the UK has jumped from 2012 to 2015 very significantly. And also China offers great opportunity post the Brexit to UK. And it's the largest country in the world by population. And soon, by the Economist magazine, it will be the largest economy based on GDP and surpass American for the second time. Now maybe you ask me why second time? Because China used to be the largest economy in the world for more than 800 years with the record. So China became the largest again. In my lifetime, I should see China became twice as big as American economy. I hope I can live long enough to see that. And it's also a fast-growing consumer market. The average Chinese consumer, they saved a lot of money, so they have money. They're not like American. American borrow money to spend. It gets us into the global recession. The Chinese consumer save the money. They buy stuff with the money out of their bank. So in China, we don't have a credit card. Only elites have it. Most people only have debit card. We don't believe you're going to return the money to the bank. But in America, they believe you're going to return the money. And if you don't, they charge lots of interest, right? So for average American, their dream is when they die, they still owe people money. They feel they achieved. So how will Brexit impact China-UK business relationship? The Brexit may boost RMB internationalization, and Britain will have more ability and freedom to cooperate with China on the economy and RMB internationalization. I know UK have strong allies to America and a strong trading partner with America. But I think it's time to reconsider that, because China has offered far more opportunity than ever. And particularly with RMB, the Chinese government really want RMB to be a very strong trading currency worldwide. And London already is offering that. So this will be a great opportunity to make London great again and to make Britain great again through China. So Brexit also impaired both Britain and the EU, which in return will benefit China. So Chinese are very strategic. They're going to take advantage of the situation. And both will try to lessen the blow by enhancing relationship with China, by pleasing China, and lowering the investment threshold. And that's inevitable, but there's a way you have to deal with that. You have to come to our school to learn how to deal with Chinese. The internationalization of the RMB coupled with the establishment of AIIB and One Belt, One Road initiatives, growing Chinese outbound investment, and increasing demand for finance and professional service to facilitate a new norm. The Chinese new norm economy, I think most of the British people didn't fully understand. This is the area that our school can really help the executives in Europe and in the UK to really understand, to sharpen your edge, to be part of the Chinese initiatives in the One Belt, One Road. And also Brexit will impact on the UK-China trade, and expand trade with China and the UK is going to be a significant impact to the future of the UK economy. And I think the UK likely will pursue China-UK free trade agreement, follow Switzerland and Norway. A stronger and closer economic relationship with the UK and even with the EU. So it's a must, in our view, that the EU should pursue the FTA. And this will really benefit from that. Brexit also impacted from the One Belt, One Road initiative. This is Chinese government initiative. So government is really, really into this, because this is a way for China to go out of the China. So it's very important to understand the concept in the Chinese philosophy, which governed us for 5,000 years of the civilization, which is you cannot just ask. You ask and you want to receive, but you also need to give. So it's very important that when UK deal with China, need to understand this mutual benefit concept, that we need to be part of the Chinese initiative. to really understand what the Chinese government want. And as a result, the Chinese government will do fantastically to return the favor to you as well. When President Sarkozy, French president, was in power, he took the liberty to receive Dalai Lama in France. As a result, the Chinese premier, when he visited Europe, he toured around France and cut lots of deals, and Sarkozy received a huge blame, and also the whole France suffered from lack of the investment from China. So China is a significant player. They need to be respected, and they have a bit of, in my view, a bit of this dignity, and they want it to be respected. They want to receive the mutual benefit from the other side. So I'm going to skip that because of time. Investing in UK assets remain very strong from the Chinese companies, and some Chinese companies actually see there may be better deal due to that. And sometimes maybe it's not really better deal, but the perception is very good for the UK companies. And also outbound is going to be a potential threat. So in conclusion, Brexit is real, let's face it. And China represents the best opportunity post-Brexit. And UK must strengthen the trade, business, and the political relationship with China. The Chinese government doesn't have a lot of Western friends. We have a lot of poor friends from for instance, Africa's. And we also have friends who stand beside us, but they, in the time of difficulty, leave us. So China definitely needs friends and need a strong partner like UK politically as well. So it's very important you tell your government that in order to facilitate the trade between China and Europe, and the UK need to play an important role to support China in many, many important issues that China really care about. Thank you very much.